What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you, as the thumbnail probably told you, how to obtain the follower Poultron in Wasteland 3. So, Poultron is kind of a joke, obviously, because it is a cyborg chicken that you put together. Now, Poultron serves as a follower. Now, whereas most of the people in your party are companions and you control them directly, followers will follow your party around. However, they don't get controlled by you, nor do they count against your party limit. So you can actually have quite a few followers at once if you manage to collect them all and keep them from dying. That said, before we jump into this, I want to explain that outside of getting the achievement, there's not a lot of use to doing this because Poultron as a follower sucks. He does very little damage. So, with that in mind, let's get into it. When you first get to your Ranger HQ, you will find a chicken pen outside. Now, in this chicken pen will be one cyborg chicken. And if you talk to it, it mentions being lonely. And then, as you explore Colorado Springs, you can run into more cyborg chickens. All of them, which totals 5, including the one that's already at your Ranger HQ, are in Colorado Springs, the very first town you start the game in. All 4 of them that you need to track down are in Colorado Springs. The first 3 you can actually get pretty much at the start of the game, and then the last one you'll likely have to come back to Colorado Springs after you've left and done some other stuff. Before we jump into where they are, I want to mention that once you get the cyborg chickens, which requires you to have an animal whisperer skill of up to 5, so someone in your party will need at least that, you can then go talk to the chickens and have them follow you. But the chickens individually also count as followers, and you need to bring them back to your Ranger HQ immediately, pretty much, to prevent them from dying. Because if any of these chickens die, there is no way to get Poultron, there's no way to fix it besides reloading an old save. So with that out of the way, let's jump into it. The first one you're likely to come across is in the Garden of the Gods, which you go to as part of a very early story mission. Like literally it's the first thing you do basically after the prologue. The cyborg chicken is located towards the end of the map, just behind a burning fire pit of bodies and before you get to the end conclusion of the Garden of Gods map. Talk to it, convince it to follow you, and then bring it back to your Ranger HQ to the chicken pen, and then it will stop following your party and just sit in the chicken pen. And this will repeat as we pick up the rest of them. The second one you're likely to come across is in the Sans Lux apartment building, which after you complete the Garden of Gods intro quest, you will be given a side quest to enter the apartment building. And in one of the apartments, requiring you to either have a mechanic skill to open the door or shoot the door down, which no one seems to react to, by the way. You can then get the second cyborg chicken, which again, convince it to follow you, bring it back to the Ranger HQ. And then the third one is actually in the Broadmoor Heights section of Colorado Springs. After you complete the Garden of the Gods mission, the next main story mission will actually bring you up to Broadmoor Heights because you'll get an invitation from one of the wealthy families to go there. You'll have to pass the marshal's checkpoint and then go talk to a Gideon Reyes in the church. Now, in the church, there's also a switch which opens the door to a closet. Inside that closet is the third cyborg chicken. Talk to it, bring it back to the Ranger HQ. We now have 4 out of the 5. Now, the last one is a little more difficult simply because you can't access it immediately. As you play along the story, you will be given a side quest. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's called Lords of War, and it will give you access to a prison complex in Colorado Springs that is accessed through Broadmoor Heights. Without spoiling the main story, that's where it is. It is under the statue, of course, but the side quest is called Lords of War. It will lead you there. Now, in this secret prison complex, you will find the cyborg chicken on this map here, and it's the last one. Bring it back to the Ranger HQ, and then you'll have all 5. Once you have all 5, if you try to talk to the chickens, it will mention them being of one mind. Now, at this point, you can't do anything else. You need to just wait. And you need to advance the story to where you have captured the first 2 of the 3 children you are trying to track down as part of the main story. After you return from Aspen and have taken care of Victory, you will be given a directive to go to your HQ and speak to a certain person. Now, during that conversation, your Ranger HQ becomes attacked by enemies. It is at this point, during this attack, once you initiate combat, that the 5 cyborg chickens will assemble into Poultron and become your follower. Now, unfortunately, no matter how I did this, the camera always zoomed out against a building, so I couldn't actually see the chickens being assembled, which kind of sucks. But this is the moment it happens, and then you'll be given Poultron, who joins your party as a follower. Now, that said, that guide out of the way, I just want to mention again, as a follower, Poultron kind of sucks and is just in it for the novelty and the achievement that goes along with having successfully done this, which I personally found pretty hilarious. So there you go, guys. That's how you get Poultron and the Bawk achievement for Wasteland 3. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.